He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Hey guys, it's Patriot Picker. I'm down in the eBay bunker today. It is Sunday, and I needed to get down here and get a jump on some stuff. If you can't tell, probably from this video, you probably will not be able to see it. So I'm going to try my best here to adjust this real quick. Give me a second. I don't know if you can see all this stuff in the floor, the totes and such, but I've got to get better organized. Is that your story? Better organization? Making a little bit of an adjustment again here on the camera. That's me. I tend to grab a bunch of stuff, sourcing, we bring it home, we get it on the spreadsheet so that we can know what we've got, and then it's my job, to get it down here in the bunker and get it kind of squared away. And that's a big weakness I have, is getting things, excuse me. Where were we again? So this video is going to be a What So video. I haven't done a What So video in a while. I started watching, the common themes that people were putting out, and it seemed to me that a lot of folks were just jumping on the whole What Sold video bandwagon. And so I kind of backed off from the What Solds. But I want to do this What Sold because there's a special little story in here that I want to mention. And anytime this happens in reselling, I like to mention it on my channel as an encouragement to you guys that are fairly new to reselling. But before I do that, I'm one of those guys that, I just make these videos and whatever comes out, comes out. I don't have any script back here. I'm just thinking as I'm making a video, so bear with me on that. A thought just came to my mind, though. Here lately, I've heard of a few fairly new resellers struggling. I'm not going to mention any names. No need to do that, but to say this. If you are a fairly new reseller, now, we always talk about new resellers, guys. Let's define what that is. A new reseller is, and again, this is going to be a different definition, of course, for everybody, I'm sure. I haven't even made it to the year mark yet. What? Are you serious? I feel like I've been doing this 10 years already. I started in late August, early September of last year, and it's just now July of 2020. So I've got August, and I'm closing in on the 1 year mark, and I still consider myself a new reseller. That's my definition. So when do you become not a new reseller? I don't know the answer to that. I'm just going to say that if you've been doing this 4 or 5 years, I think maybe you might be able to climb out of the new reseller category. But anyway, here's what I want to say to fairly new resellers. As I mentioned before, I've heard some stories about some folks that are thinking about shutting the door. They've given up hope. They don't see that this is really going anywhere. Now, YouTube, that's a whole different story. We're going to talk about that on a different video. But I'm talking about actually people who started reselling and they're stopping it altogether and going back to whatever else they do and saying, that's not for me. Here's the thing I want to say about all this. There's a lot of pressure that's put on us by Others, there's a lot of pressure put on us when we watch the YouTube videos and we see all the big people and, selling things left and right. There's that pressure that comes out. It's not that they're putting the pressure on you. It's just that they're being successful. And there's that success pressure that you feel is too hard to achieve, I think sometimes. I'm guilty of it myself at times. When sales are slow, I second guess sometimes whether or not this is ever going to amount to anything long term. But here's the thing that I think is important. Priorities. I've said this before on my channel, and again, I'm going to say it until the cows come home. If you need to stop reselling because your priorities are more than this little side hustle you got going, then you need to stop. You need to get your priorities right. And I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure that out. There are things in life, guys, that are more important than reselling. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And what are those things? Your health, your mental health, your emotional health, your financial health, your physical health. 2, your family. Yes, your kids, your children, your wife. That's a priority. Reselling's not a priority. Okay? 3, your main source of income as a side hustler, part-time reseller does not need to be reselling unless that is providing you the income that you need in your family. And there's some people out there who do not need to make $50,000 a year reselling. But if your financial situation is such that you are not able to meet your responsibilities, and I am preaching to the choir here, you need to look at possibly doing something else. Maybe you need to get another job. Maybe you need to look into other avenues of platforms to resell on. Okay? Now, I'm just going to leave that where it's at. I think the point's made. Your priorities need to be kept in the right place. And I think that a lot of folks get involved in reselling like this, and it is addicting. I will admit, the whole adventurism side of reselling is addicting. It's like a little natural high you get. You don't need no pill. You just need to go to Goodwill. Oh, did I just capture wait a minute before I forget it. You don't need a pill. You need Goodwill. Oh, yeah, baby. I got me a new slogan right there. And don't you try to steal it, you resellers, because I know how you is. All right? So you don't need a pill to go to Goodwill or get Goodwill. What you need, I'm telling you right now, when God comes on you, he comes on you. Let me preach for just a little bit. What you really need is God in your life. That's what you really need, okay? And when you have God in your life, when you have Jesus in your heart, that's all you need, okay? But we're going to park right there. Let's leave that, drop that where it's at. What you need second in your life, though, is to have your priorities straight. And that's that. Closing that chapter. That sermon's over. Let's get to what's sold. All right, first up is I hit a lot of hats a couple days back. And at Goodwill. I walked in, they had a bunch of these brand new looking hats, all stacked nice in a row behind the counter. Yeah, because they ain't going to put these out for people to get. They were marked $4.99 a piece, and there were 8 of them. And then they had another stack that were marked $5.99 a piece, and there were about 10 of those. And so what I did is, I pulled the old reseller trick. I asked for the manager. Yeah, you need to ask for the manager. Don't you talk to those girls behind the counter. They don't know. They don't make the price. They don't make the final call. You say, wait a minute. You talking about Goodwill? You negotiating? Yes. At least at my Goodwill, you can negotiate. Hey, hey, remember a video I made a while back? You don't know unless you ask? That's right. All they can say is no. So, ask. What I did is I said, how much would you do for all of them? Okay, and they gave me a price. And then I said, well, how much would you do for just this stack? And they gave me a price. And I walked around the store with all of them in my cart, you know, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was comping them all out, and I was looking at different prices. And I said, you know what? This price on this lot that this one came in was a much better deal. And so I went ahead and put the other ones back. Now, this is a 5950. And if you sell hats, you know what 5950 is. The other ones were an off-brand company called Pit Bull. And I'll be honest, I didn't really know a whole lot about Pit Bull. My Cincinnati picker, if you're watching this video, you know that any Cincinnati Reds hat, of course, is worth getting, right? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, sir, I had to put it back. And the reason for that was because they were asking way too much for that lot. So I chose to go with this lot, and I'm glad I did, because this hat right here has sold already. This hat sold for $24.99 plus shipping. So somebody's going to be a new Denver Nuggets wearing hat lover. Thank you for the sale. Moving on. All right, here's one of them items. Sometimes you pick it up in Goodwill, you're like, what in the world is that, right? And you have to do some serious research on your phone before you decide you want to buy it. But sometimes those kind of items, I don't know why, but my spidey sense just kicks in, and I'm like, hey, you got to get that, guy. So I went ahead, picked this up. Now, if you can see what this is, it's called a corgi. A corgi. Not a dog, corgi. Are there dogs named corgis? I think there might be. I don't know much about dog breeds. All I know is the Hind 57. He's man's best friend. But the corgi, C-O-R-K-Y, and it's one of those wine cork remover, stobby, plunger remover dealies, whatever them things are called. And extractor, that's what it is. Anyway, picked this up, paid probably 99 cents for it. And it is selling for $12.99 plus shipping. All right. You see that really cool star back there? Isn't that a really cool star? Now, that doesn't mean I'm a star, but that's a really cool star. And I'm not even a Dallas Cowboys fan, but that's a really cool star. All right. Alphabet cards. So you're talking educational. Hardware store wall art. So they're big placard cards with pictures and letters on them to represent, so kids can learn different objects in the hardware store. And we picked these up in probably Goodwill. And you can see on the back, got quite a few different pictures. And these are going out the door for $19.99 plus shipping. All right, next up, really cool stuff that you find. I mean, you know, that's just that part I was talking about where it's addicting. That's what I'm talking about. It's like addicting, isn't it? Chinese character blocks. Okay, so we're talking one side geography of China, one side Chinese letters, and one side Chinese words, and then one side Chinese pictures. And I can't think of what else is Chinese on here. But these are good for learning Chinese. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole Chinese and what I think about China and all that on this video because, well, you probably know where I stand on that. Anyway, those blocks are going out the door for $24.99 plus shipping. All right, now that brings me to my next little item. Actually, I have several little items that I want to show you. All right, I'm back. So here's, you know, sometimes you go out and you're sourcing and, you know, whether it's a yard sale, Goodwill, whatever, you run into an item that is like bagged up in a Ziploc bag. There's like several items in a Ziploc bag. And it takes you a minute to unravel it and you know, figure out what exactly you got. Well, I was able to see through the bag on these, and I was like, OMG, is that what I think it is? So what I found was a lot of the old vintage He-Man action figures. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through each one that I got, and then I'm going to share with you the one that I sold already, and then we'll get into something else. So this little guy right here is called Roboto Man. He's got little gears inside. Let me see if I can get him close enough. When you turn his legs and his waist, the gears move inside, and his visor goes up and down. Anyway, I haven't got him listed yet. He's one of the last ones I need to list, but he came in the pack. And then you got this little guy here. Now, the rubber bands are on his legs because this, you know, these are used. His legs were flared out from age and use, I guess. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to pull them in so they don't flare out. But anyway, this little guy right here, he actually squirts water. He pushes his head up and down, and water shoots out. And you take his head off to fill him up, and then he fills up to his neck, and then you put this back on, and then you push this, and he hisses. Anyway, he was one of the characters in there, and I can't remember what he's called. Let's see if I can figure out. He's called Cobra Khan. Yeah, I had to look all these up because, you know, it's been a while since I played with these guys. Then you got this little guy here is Grizzlor. Looks like a werewolf or a caveman or whatever. So I got him. Then if you ever played with these and watched the show, you know who this is. This is the Battle Armor Skeletor. Okay. And then, of course, you got He-Man himself. And this is the one that actually sold. This is actually He-Man's, I think it's his cousin or something. I can't remember his name. But anyway, this guy sold for $19.99. And by the way, I only paid 99 cents for each of these guys. Okay. And then the prize possession was, I was actually able to pick up this. Yep. That is the Purple Panther that Skeletor rode on. Let's see if I can get him saddled up here for you. Anyway, and the Purple Panther was actually going for pretty good price. I think I actually listed that thing for like $90. By the way, you know, when it comes to listing, you know, maybe it's not going to sell for no $90, but I go high and then I can always come down. I can never go up after, you know, you've listed something. So, I go high and then I try to come down on something like that. So I think that's all I've got that's sold. And you know, sales are slow right now, guys. They really are. If you are experiencing great sales right now, you are so fortunate. Because I've heard from so many folks that are kind of in my game where we've only been in it about a year or so that are just, you know, not making hardly anything right now. And I heard somebody tell me one time that the J months are slow. Well, that's 3 months of the year. Gee whiz, if all we got's the rest of the months of a year, you know, that's, you know, you got to really make some profit to be able to make up for slow months in January, June, and July. Unless, of course, you count August or September or Jocktober. those months could be, yeah, that was a goofy joke. Anyway, so that's going to conclude this What So video, and I'll just leave you with this. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's too easy to throw the towel in, and I want you to keep fighting, okay? So this is Patriot Picker, and I'm signing out, and we'll catch you guys again on the flip side.